They smile like angels, speak with kindness, and move with grace. But behind that charm hides a storm you can't see coming. And the craziest part? Most men don't realize they're already trapped until the damage is done. You see, toxic women don't destroy you all at once. They do it slowly, carefully, like a surgeon with a knife so sharp you don't feel the cut until you're bleeding. And once you understand how they operate, you'll start to see the pattern everywhere. In relationships, in friendships, even in your own past. But before we dive in deep, make sure you subscribe right now, because too many good men are walking blind into emotional traps that can destroy their confidence and peace. Don't be one of them. All right, let's get into it. The most toxic women don't look toxic. That's what makes them dangerous. They know how to mirror your energy. They study you, they listen, and they make you feel seen. But what they're really doing is collecting emotional ammunition. Every story you tell, every insecurity you reveal, every weakness you show, she stores it, like bullets in a chamber, waiting for the day she'll use them against you. And when that day comes, you'll barely recognize the woman standing in front of you. She'll twist your words, weaponize your emotions, and make you believe you're the problem. This is emotional warfare, and the first rule of a toxic woman is that she'll always play the victim. Now here's what makes her even more dangerous. A toxic woman doesn't just want control, she wants power. And power, to her, is knowing she can make you question yourself. She'll say something hurtful, then call you dramatic for reacting. She'll flirt with others in front of you, then call you insecure for noticing. It's a twisted game where she wins only when you start doubting your own reality. Psychologists call this gaslighting. But in real life, it feels like confusion, exhaustion, and emotional chaos. You wake up one day realizing you don't trust your own judgment anymore. You start apologizing for things you didn't do, and that's exactly where she wants you. Toxic women feed on emotional reactions. When you chase, argue, explain, or beg, you give her the energy she craves, attention. So she keeps poking you, keeps creating drama, keeps testing you, because your frustration feeds her sense of control. Here's something few men understand. A toxic woman isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes she's calm, quiet, and dangerously composed. She'll never raise her voice. She'll just raise her expectations until you feel like you're never enough. She'll compare you to other men, guilt trip you for working too hard, or accuse you of not loving her enough. And slowly, your self-worth begins to crumble. That's the real damage. Not the shouting, not the arguments, but the slow erosion of your confidence. A toxic woman doesn't need to break your heart to destroy you. All she has to do is make you forget who you were before her. And if you've ever walked away from someone and said, "I don't even recognize myself anymore," that wasn't love. That was emotional control, disguised as affection. But let's go even deeper. Toxic women have a pattern. They move through emotional stages like clockwork. First comes the idealization phase. She makes you feel like the luckiest man alive, texts you every morning, praises you, and says you're different from the rest. You start to believe she's the one. Then comes the devaluation phase. The compliments stop. The arguments start. She begins pointing out your flaws, comparing you to others, and slowly withdrawing affection. You start trying harder, hoping to get back the woman you first met. But that version of her never existed. She created that image only to hook you emotionally. And finally comes the discard phase. Once she feels she's drained all the validation, effort, and love she can from you, she moves on, leaving you broken, confused, and still trying to figure out what went wrong. But she won't give you closure, because closure would mean you could move on peacefully. And peace is the one thing a toxic woman never gives. Here's the truth most men don't like to hear. Toxic women don't choose weak men. They choose strong men, men with potential, ambition, and empathy. Because breaking a strong man gives them the deepest sense of control. But here's where everything changes. once you stop reacting, once you see her patterns, once you choose silence over argument, you take back your power. Because the one thing toxic women can't stand is losing emotional control over you. So when she tries to bait you into a fight, stay calm. When she withdraws to test your patience, remain unbothered. When she tries to guilt you with her tears, don't rescue her. Because your peace is your strength and your silence is your armor. And if you're watching this and realizing you might be in one of these relationships right now, remember this. You don't need closure from chaos. You just need clarity. Once you see the game, you stop playing. Stick around for part 2, because we're going to expose the exact psychological signs that reveal whether a woman in your life is truly toxic or just emotionally immature. And by the end, you'll know how to spot the difference instantly. But before you scroll, if this video hit home, take a second right now to subscribe. It's free, and I promise the next video might just save you months, or even years, of emotional pain. You want to know the truth about toxic women. They don't come into your life to love you. They come into your life to study you. And once they understand what drives you, what breaks you, and what makes you question yourself, that's when the real game begins. You see, toxic women operate like emotional magicians. They make you look in one direction while they pull off something else behind your back. And what's worse, they make you feel like the villain. Let me break it down for you. Because once you understand these 5 hidden toxic traits, you'll never fall for them again. Let's start with the first one. The first sign of a truly toxic woman is emotional manipulation disguised as care. She'll tell you she worries about you, that she's just looking out for you, but underneath, it's control. She'll question where you're going, who you're texting, and why you didn't reply fast enough, all under the banner of love. But that's not love. That's possession dressed in affection. And the moment you mistake control for care, she owns you. The second toxic trait is playing the victim, always. No matter what happens, she's never wrong. She'll rewrite history, twist conversations, and convince you that you're the reason she's unhappy. You'll start apologizing for things you didn't even do. That's how she gets power, through guilt. And once you feel guilty enough, she knows you'll bend to her will. Here's the third one, and it's subtle but deadly. Toxic women thrive on emotional chaos. Peace makes them nervous. Stability bores them. So when things are calm and good, they'll create conflict out of thin air. They'll accuse you of things, test your reactions, or start meaningless arguments, just to feel emotionally alive again. Because to a toxic woman, calm feels like loss of control. Now, I want you to pay attention here, because this next one breaks a lot of men without them realizing it. The fourth toxic trait is withholding affection as punishment. She'll go cold when she's angry, pull away when you need closeness, and make you work to earn her warmth again. And that's how she trains you, like a reward system. When you behave, she loves you. When you question her, she punishes you. You'll find yourself trying harder and harder to win her approval. And that's when you lose yourself. The last and most dangerous toxic trait is emotional projection. She'll accuse you of doing exactly what she's doing. If she's being dishonest, she'll call you secretive. If she's flirting, she'll say you've changed. It's psychological warfare designed to make you defend yourself instead of seeing her behavior clearly. That's how she keeps you distracted, by turning your attention inward while she operates in the shadows. And now, you're probably wondering, why do women like this exist? Why play games with people's hearts? The truth is, toxic women are broken inside. They crave attention because they fear abandonment. They crave power because they feel powerless. And when they hurt you, it's often just to avoid facing their own emptiness. But that doesn't mean you have to stay and fix them. You can have compassion and still walk away. Because staying in a toxic relationship doesn't heal her. It destroys you. Now, here's the hard part for most men. When you leave, she'll come back. Always. She'll send that late-night message. She'll post something nostalgic. She'll act like she's changed. But it's not growth. It's strategy. She's testing if she still has emotional power over you. The moment you reply, she knows she does. That's why the real power is in silence. And when you don't respond, something incredible happens. She starts to lose control. You see, toxic women depend on emotional reaction. When you stay calm, detached, stoic, you become unreadable. And to a manipulator, that's terrifying. Because the man who no longer reacts is the man she can no longer control. Let that sink in. So, if you've ever been with someone who left you drained, confused, and doubting your worth, understand this. It wasn't your fault. You just gave love to the wrong kind of woman. But now that you know the signs, you'll never make that mistake again. You deserve peace, not pain. You deserve connection, not confusion. And sometimes the most powerful thing a man can do is walk away in silence. If you made it this far, brother, it means you've already started healing. Because awareness is the first step toward freedom. And if this message hit home, don't just scroll away. Hit subscribe right now, because this channel is your reminder that stoic strength isn't coldness, it's clarity. Every week, we break down the hidden truths of female psychology, not to attack, but to understand. And understanding gives you power. Power to choose peace, power to love with boundaries, power to never let anyone manipulate your emotions again. So subscribe, stay grounded, and remember this. The most dangerous women wear masks of sweetness, but once you see past the mask, you'll never be fooled again.